Hello world, my name is Jahar Aziz II, and today's date is April 1st, 2012, and I'm motivated to make this video on behalf of 14 different reasons. 7 reasons stem from the mind, and 7 reasons stem from the body of Earth. The first reason that's motivating me behind the mind is the fact that I made a 70-page PowerPoint on December 28th, 2011, and I always felt that after making that video I would feel different about the way I conduct myself in society, because it was basically about how everybody should be 100% equal. But I didn't really feel any better after I made that video, so I decided to make 7 separate videos that explain 10 PowerPoints at a time of what I was trying to say to the world through that PowerPoint. And the second reason that I'm motivated to make this video behind the mind is that I made 3 videos in the month of March. The first one I was recording my little brother, and he tried to free the world by telling people that you have a mind, a body, and emotion hidden behind every opinion that you gather or make, regardless of whether that's a current opinion for this situation or if it's an opinion you have on someone or something in life. An opinion can't be made unless emotion was leaked there, and emotion never comes about unless your mind and body did all it can. So every time you make an opinion, if you've even grown one day later, you should change that opinion, because you're not the same person you were when you locked in that emotion. An opinion is only proof of what you used to feel. Then on the 8th, 6 days later, it was the day after Lil Wayne made a video about his opinion about penalties on coaches, players, different leagues, and his ability to just carry an opinion on what's going on currently in life was astonishing to me, because he has a never-ending lifestyle, like the way he lives and the way that he raps and the way that they are in one. And he can also gather opinions on Earth. It means that they're not affecting him so much that he's lost in his work, but he can also gather opinion, and his opinion is that people should be treated equally. So that must be how he's conducting his work. So on the 8th, I just wanted to say how you can have opinions in life, but you can also have habits. And maybe rapping for him is a habit, is his form of expression. And if that is, he made his habit one that can cater a lifestyle. And a habit is so powerful that it holds your mind, body, and emotion like an opinion, but through action. So you'll never notice yourself losing that time. And the only thing that can change your opinion is the time that went in between and you thought about that situation and feel better for it. So if he's using the only thing that matters to him, which is time, to express his opinion, which he knows changes over time, means he's pretty much invisible. So I wanted to show on the 8th, on that video, that opinions and habits make you invisible to life, and how you shouldn't have opinions and you shouldn't have habits unless they cater the life. So on the 15th, Lil Wayne, who obviously has the life simply because he's living, he's walking it, he's talking it, he's rapping it, and he's gathering opinions from what he feels. You can only gather an opinion from what you feel currently. So he's juggling this entire lifestyle, and he has an opinion to say about it. But he's not going to call himself out, since he's being on point and using his time. He's going to call other things and how they should be. That's proof of who he is. So for him to say on the 14th that he wants to be the best skater in the world that day next year would mean that somebody, if they're an honest person, would have to confess that Lil Wayne is the best skater in the world the next day. Because in the time cycle of a year, you simply learn a new lesson. And he's explaining a lesson a day. So where he's speaking from is obviously correct, because he has all this work that's around the clock, that somebody would have to lose their life to be into their work. But he's also maintaining opinions, and the opinions do match how he feels currently. And he has a song from Hot Boys to How to Love, so there's no place you can't be free through his work. He can basically describe how he feels, and that's describing what life is, because through life he's described how to get free from any place. So one day later would be equivalent to 1 year later for him trying to be the best skater. So the next day I said it. Lil Wayne, since I was 14, motivated me to do everything. The way that I did it, the way I blew people off, I just go bump to some Wheezy and I'll be straight again. So his ability to say that he'd be the best skater when I know he's motivated probably some of the best skaters, I had to confess it, that it's a one-day thing. He only got to wait 24 hours for his prize, because in a time span of 24 hours you can do what you plan to do an entire year, if you appreciate the seconds that you're alive. And if you appreciate those seconds, there's no such thing as opinions or habits in the first place. And that's exactly the type of living that he has. And I just wanted to be somebody with my opinion from the side to voice that and make that come true. But through those 3 videos, it's still not proof to the world that you can be free, because I'm not telling them the operation of themselves. And so because I said through situation, I said through opinion, I said through habit, and I used Lil Wayne as proof. I even said that he has Drake and Ymcmb that are a form of his logic and a form of his emotion, explaining the same rap, you know, how they're so close and friends, how they must be carrying the same opinion, and that opinion must be selfless, and it must be how they feel currently, because they'll feel differently at 40 than they do at age 25, that they're just being true to how they feel at the second and loving life as it comes. That using them as a proof still doesn't free people. So I just had to say who motivated me, and I told you in that video I'll share with you what I know the way I know it. So that's the reason I'm making this video today. The third form of motivation behind the mind is the fact that this is my 5th piece of work. I did the 70-page PowerPoint and the 3 videos in the month of March. One was my little brother, one was me clearing opinions and habits, and one was me saying Lil Wayne kills opinions and habits and still makes opinions. Where is he speaking from? And I want to confess that now. But on this 5th piece of work, I have to definitely explain the first 10 slides of the PowerPoint that I made on December 28, 2012, part of 2011. So the 4th form of motivation behind the mind is that the first 10 PowerPoint slides that I made are the exact same 10 worlds that people have inside of themselves. And people don't think that they have 10 worlds inside of their mind, but if they don't maintain the same feeling that they had from the second that they woke up to the second they go to bed again, it's only because they started viewing things differently. And because we do get affected by time, and because you feel different at 3 o'clock than 1 o'clock, the same thing can happen and you'll react differently. So you have different places in your mind you can go to, and all you have is a yes or a no, but you have 10 worlds, and that yes or a no will allow you to go to who you want to get what you want, and avoid who you have to avoid to maintain where you want to be. So these 10 worlds of the mind are powerful, and if somebody explains the course of these 10 worlds, they can basically take somebody from being lost to being found, which is what they do in 10 verses, every single song we ever hear. So I want to explain these 10 worlds of the mind so that somebody can know that these words that Lil Wayne are saying, it's not because he's trying to make the future, it's not because he's trying to be the future, he's just being who he is. The future is happening, we're progressing as a people, he's progressing at the same rate that all people should be progressing. So it looks like he's saying something other, but we're just stuck on our own opinions and our own habits. We can't see how he's going with how time should be. So I need to explain these 10 worlds of the mind, because as he's going with time, he's just explaining what he feels on different hours of the day, and it's what somebody would go through in the course of 3 months in a relationship, because they're making themselves feel time that slow by learning the epitome of an opinion, which they should have that second, but 3 days later when karma happens and it falls back on them. So how Lil Wayne can basically seem like he's being everywhere and nowhere at once is only because of these 10 worlds, and I need to explain them. And the 5th reason of motivation behind the mind is because I died, and I posted this on Facebook on November 13th, 2011, and that was about 4.5 months ago. So between that time and now, I made the 70-page PowerPoint, didn't feel better about it. I made these 3 videos, didn't feel better about it. So here I am 4.5 months later after I killed myself, and I still don't want to go to society until I have a way that I can feel free regardless. I want to make this video because I think I'm close to what I'm trying to explain, and I have proof. The proof being 6th reason of motivation behind the mind, the Taj.0 show. On Taj.0, the first thing that sparked my interest, and I don't really watch TV, it's too much for me lately, like the tempo, the theme, the topic, it's too repetitive and it's too obvious for the day and for the feeling of the day and what they're describing situations on TV for that to be entertainment. It's basically the truth, and the truth isn't entertaining, so you basically get lost every time you look at the TV. But I noticed the Taj.0 show, and he had Chris Rock on there. Now Chris Rock is a comedian, and his stand-up of The Government Hates Rap is what got me interested in rap music. Now I'm about to be 20 in 5 days from today, and rap is all me. I love rap. Rap is, I think it's the ultimate. I think it's the tomorrow. But this person is who got me interested in rap, and in his stand-up he's expressing how the government hates rap. And he was talking about Tupac, and he was talking about Biggie, and how these people got killed, and the people who killed them never got found. So Tupac and Biggie, being people at their time, being rappers, knowing the sequence of life, and this is, in the 90s, where the sequence of life was different than how it is now. It breaks down on somebody so quick, you see why they're frustrated. When from before, it would break down on somebody, and you could see their attempts to try to hold it together. So to see the 10 worlds of the mind at that point in time was so much easier than now, if you were just an honest person. So Tupac and Biggie, who killed them? I don't believe it would have mattered, because if you follow their work, they were selfless people, equal to Jay-Z, Kanye, Lil Wayne, Drake, equal. So selfless that their flesh, I don't think, even would have stopped what they were trying to do. So who killed them and how the government never looks that up and the government hates rap, all of this from Chris Rock made me interested in all of this. And Chris Rock was on the Tosh.0 show saying, I'm not confused about my sexual preference, I like men. Now whether he was saying that because it was his honest confession is beside the point. How that man feels, I'm not going to judge him any different than Tupac or Biggie would. It's selfless, just beyond the flesh. The only thing that caught my interest was the fact that he says, I'm not confused. If in your confession, you're going to say, I'm not confused, I like men, instead of, hello world, I like men, it might be because you were confused before, or thought that you were confused. So what you reached wasn't just the fact that, damn, I am gay. It's, damn, and I haven't even been confused about it. I am. So if he's breaking from confusion as well as entering into that lifestyle, he might have been confused when he said the government hates rap. So him saying I'm Tosh.0, the whole reason why I was looking into this could have been on a confused standpoint, makes me double check any of the rap I'm going to give to the earth before I do it. And that was because of Chris Rock on the Tosh.0 show. The second reason is still because of the Tosh.0 show, but he had piss-ups. Somebody take a piss, then you step outside the bathroom and you do 10 push-ups. Now when I was younger, I used to do piss-ups, but that was only because when you get nervous, you have to pee. And I figured when you work out, you're flexing those muscles, and the more you work out, you can flex it, stop flexing it, flex it again. It's barely in the morning you try to flex your arm, you're going to look at your arm not flexing when you ask it to, or not with as much, power or force. So the more you work out, the more tension you develop, the more command you have over it. So I figured if I did push-ups, which is forcing me to flex my stomach, I'd be able to control the muscles that are already going to be breaking down on me when I get nervous. So I used to do piss-ups, but I see this on Tosh.0 show telling the world to do piss-ups. It's really going to help you train the muscles that start getting affected when you get nervous, after he sponsored or had a guest of Chris Rock. So those two things made me realize that them working in correspondence of Lil Wayne, whether they were working together or not, could lead people to view Earth and say, wow, there's ways to not get nervous. Wow, the person who was talking about the whole Tupac and Biggie standing up and voicing it is now not confused like he could have been confused back then. So through the Tosh.0 show, anybody viewing could gain interest in this new world. And so the third thing about the Tosh.0 show that sold me was on March 23rd, which is my mom's birthday, which is the first day of the Aries. He had on his show Knife or Banana. Now he had Knife or Banana, and he had a girl, and he said, choose which hand I have behind my back. And the girl chose the knife at first. And he said, are you sure you want to choose that one? And just by him asking, the girl changed her mind and she picked the other hand. So he picked the other hand and he stabbed her in the chest with the banana. I mean, thank God. If he didn't ask her, are you sure? She would have chosen the knife. So he hit her with the banana and she started fake bleeding down her chest anyway. But the whole Knife or Banana made me realize that if he had Chris Rock on the show to say he's no longer confused, which made me question everything I had, then he had Piss-Ups, which was basically, world, don't get nervous. Then he had Knife or Banana. He's really only guiding me in my own thoughts, because I don't connect anything on TV from what I'm doing anyway. But from what he's saying to people, it's kind of guiding them into Knife or Banana, how you choose beforehand. It's hidden, it's behind the back, but you have the choice. And even when you make the choice, you're going to be asked, are you sure? Just like in life, you decide to do something, then you get the emotion of what that thing is going to mean, and then you decide to do it anyway. You have the are you sure moment. And depending on whether you go against the grain or you go with the flow, you're going to get stabbed with a knife or a banana. So it's funny, but in a way that's Taj.0, so to regular TV and everything, in his form of displaying a message, that's what I got. And it was on the first day of Aries. And Aries in Zodiac, they're just no-nonsense people. And if you want no-nonsense, you're going to kill it in two ways. Explain everything and put them in their order, or kill all of them so they can shut up. So to tell an Aries on the first sign of that Zodiac, 9-4 banana, after saying the other two messages, kind of makes me seem like there's something else on the other side of TV. So for that motivation behind my mind, I'm making this video. And the seventh form of motivation was the fact that I was born to do it, and I can prove it. So I'm going to show people how everybody in life is free, and how Taj.0 had a form of my mind by making me check the person who got me interested in rap, had a form of my body by showing me the same thing that associated me with the relaxed body that I did when I was younger. Then he had a form of my emotion by on my mother's birthday telling me knife or banana depending on what I choose. Which in life, you know, you think about that and you have that knife or banana moment. But it's also on the lessons that your mom taught you on which decision you'd make. So how my little brother said there's mind, body, and emotion on the 2nd of March, Taj.0 basically full circle completed that on the 23rd of March. So I'm more than born to do it because there's people already doing it. I just have to do it in the form that I do, just like Lil Wayne being selfless, just like everybody in his crew being selfless past their flesh, trying to describe a feeling the best that they can to the people in their age group to see it, to relate to it, to grasp the feeling and create from it. So I want to show people that we always create from that place, that we live in that place, and that we are that place. And I think that I'm born to do it. So my first form of motivation behind the body is that 17 days ago I said that I'll prove Lil Wayne is the best skater. Not 10 times, not 100 times, not 1,000 times better, but that Lil Wayne is the best skateboarder ever. The second form of motivation behind my body, but before I say this one, for him to be the best skater, skating in itself is a balance. And kids skate because they're balancing what their mind is trying to do and what their body is doing currently. The only thing you have is a mind to think of how to do it and a body to achieve it. If you're smart enough, you can get other bodies to do it for you. If your body is strong enough, you could do what other people were thinking before they had a chance. But using your mind and your body at the perfect balance, you can do whatever you want. For him to say that he's going to be the best skater ever when he's already balancing a career and balancing opinions that he's drawing from Earth is equal to the balance any little kid would need to be a skater. So he's skating over life. He's the best skater, full proof. I'm going to prove it even farther, but he's the best skater. Using his mind and his body, he's the perfect balance. That's everything you need for skate. But he has it in words, he has it in color, he has it in action. He has it all over the place. The same thrill you would get by balancing on a skateboard. The second form of motivation I got from the body was that I said Drake never worked on the 15th, on that video. I said he's just repeating the obvious. He never worked. Until the Take Care CD, which wasn't work, it was only a confession, and he never worked afterwards. He's just doing what he loves and making connections. So he's one of the blessed people that never had to see a day of earth. And that's why he's saying he's a living proof that you don't gotta die and go to heaven. But I also said on the Take Care album, he never spoke to me. And the reason I said he didn't speak to me was because he said everything that would make my position worth living, which was false, because today is April 1st, and I've already grown from the opinion that I had on March 15th. I think that Drake wasn't speaking to me, and the only reason I thought that Drake wasn't speaking to me is because he was speaking through me and with me. But I'm not me, just like Tupac and Biggie and Wayne and Drake and Kanye and Jay-Z are not their flesh. Nicki Minaj, they're not their flesh. Chris Brown, Rihanna, they're not their flesh. They're the message that they're trying to convey, and they're living for the message that they're trying to convey. So I always felt that Drake wasn't talking to me, he can't be talking to me, when in reality he's talking for everybody and through everybody. And in the Take Care CD, unless you're in a spiritual vibe, you're not going to understand why he's saying what he's saying. It's almost not music or perfect music, depending on how you want to view it, but the melody is going to convince you to listen anyway. That's if you're even in tap to see what's going on. And so, because me is a selfish person, the only time you say me is to say, who did this? Me. Are you going to do this to me? I can't believe he did that to me. and bitch, I'm me. Me is just a selfish person. A lot of people think that it's I, when a person uses the expression I, that you're being selfish, when it's not true. Only when you're thinking about me are you being selfish. So I thought that Drake wasn't talking about me, but that's only because he was talking through me and for me. He was explaining the 5 worlds and how they meet up. You have 5 worlds because you have 5 senses. Then you have 3 worlds because you have past, present, and future. You have a mind, you have a body, and you have the emotion they create. So you have 5 senses, then mind, body, and emotion. The only 8 things that affect a human. And a human is not a human's mind, because we've been the same animal and we don't think the same as before. And a human is not a human's body, because we're the same animal, but we don't do the same things we did before. So because a human is neither their mind nor their body, it has to be what's affecting their mind and body. That will always be your 5 senses and your 3 worlds, mind, body, and emotion. So for Lil Wayne, or for Drake, Lil Wayne, that's almost like opinions and emotion, how much they're the same thing, but through complete different beautiful forms. But anyway, how Drake said, was speaking through me and for me, he was never speaking to me. That's not to diss him, that just means to take care. It's not for me, it's for you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, the take care is for you. And the second you want to say that doesn't happen to me is the second you disagree with the take care album. My opinion. The third reason, the motivation behind the body, is because I love Nicki Minaj and I just gotta admit it. Like I said, Lil Wayne was the person who motivated me at 14 to diss the world, because I could listen to his music and be found again, and I knew that. So it didn't matter what anybody was telling me. And I can go harder when I play ball. I can push the pain limit or whatever, because I listen to Lil Wayne, wet, crack, vape, and I'll just be back home. So if Nicki Minaj is in Young Money, Cash Money, and she's stemming from Lil Wayne, she has to be saying everything she can from her position that Lil Wayne can't from his position. Lil Wayne still has to represent the same things he always has. When Nicki Minaj is coming from a different step, associated with the same power of life, which is outside of their flesh, when she goes to explain it, it has to be from what Wayne would say if he was in those shoes. So I love this person because she's a woman. She has 2 X chromosomes. She's not stopping to question why, to find an excuse to get calm. She knows when she's mad. Every woman, they know when they're mad and they know when they're happy. A guy doesn't know when he's mad. The guy don't know when he's happy, because he's finding reasons to justify. Even if those reasons are actions or things that he's doing to people on the outside and he doesn't want to get caught doing, a dude will never sit with the emotion when a woman has to. So for her, coming from Lil Wayne, not being able to escape the truth of life, she bleeds every month and she can have kids, she'd be the perfect representation of expressing that emotion. Emotion is the only thing that a mind and body creates. A mind and body is the only thing a human can escape. So I love Nicki Minaj simply for who she is and who she's working with and what it must mean. And I gotta admit that. The 4th reason, the motivation behind the body, is because people need to know not only the definition, but the price of freedom. And how you have to get a hold of your mind and body. You never have to get a hold of your emotion. You simply have to get a hold of your mind and body. And the 5th reason of motivation behind the body is that it's for me in 5 years from now. I believe because every single year you get a new lesson, and that because your mind has 10 worlds, but you also have the decision of yes or no, and you're also affected by time and space. Yes or no aren't your 11th and 12th worlds. You have 10 worlds inside of the mind. Then you have time and space, which is outside the mind. You can never stop time, and you cannot stop yourself from consuming the space that you're in. Even if you move, you're just moving to a different space. You're not running from anything. So time and space we can escape, but the 10 worlds in our mind we can't. And those 12 aspects make life what it is. But to see those 12 aspects through logic and through emotion would take 24 years, because you spend 1 year learning a message. And within every year you have the 4 seasons to learn something in the 4 ways we can live. So in 5 years from now, I'm going to know all 24 aspects of life, which is only 12 aspects of life it can be, through logic and emotion. So my 25th year, I believe I'll be complete. 25 is when Drake dropped the Take Care album. So I believe at that age is when you should say take care to the feeling. If he's working with Lil Wayne, who's timeless on the feeling, and he's saying take care to it, like he's on to just making connections within it, like Lil Wayne did the same thing when he was at that age. I think for me in 5 years, because I'm gonna be 20 in 5 days, but for me in 5 years, I need to free people now, because I'm only gonna search for freedom then. If Drake at 25 in his music career, when I'm trying to be an artist, makes music like the Take Care album, which puts people to a zero. I just want to put people to a zero today, because in 5 years, that's obviously what I'm going to try to express if I'm an artist, and Drake is one of the best right now. Period, ever, but right now especially. The sixth reason I want to explain what I'm explaining is because I must be Ymcmb. I think Drake was motivated by Lil Wayne to make that music, equal to Nicki Minaj being motivated by Lil Wayne. So they do what they do so selfless, not only because it's their job to make money, and if you're caught up in your work, you'll get lost in your work, but they're selfless because they're Ymcmb, Young Money, Cash Money, Birdman, Lil Wayne. They're selfless because it's what they have to be in order to succeed. And I'm being selfless right now by explaining to the world how you can be, or you don't have to die and go to heaven to get to heaven, and how you can be at zero 24/7. For myself in 5 years means I'm basically being Ymcmb by giving another song. This could be just another song that gets somebody to a zero. It's just going to be like spoken out and a little boring. But I must be Ymcmb if I'm explaining life with words, because that's all they do. And they motivated me, so in every way. The seventh reason behind the body that I'm making this PowerPoint is because I was at a Martin Luther King march this year, and I read a lady's shirt, and her shirt said, Rosa Parks sat so that Martin Luther King can walk. Martin Luther King walked so that Obama can run. Obama runs so that children can fly. And so I want to give the wings that Lil Wayne gave me, because children can fly. You have people flying. You have people hoping that you can cling on to the sixth sense of life, if you will, what's there when we make all connections. And when you make all connections, you realize you're the same you before you go to sleep every night. No matter who's involved in making those connections, no matter what's disturbing your mind, whatever your body has to go through tomorrow, and even if you're not putting yourself in those positions, no matter what, you're always going to the same home at the end of the day. And to have wings, to fly by whatever action somebody's having you do, to fly by whatever's critiquing you, whatever your mind might be stuck on, to understand that it's okay to have those type of wings. That's on some Lil Wayne. That's on some other level. And it's not because he has money that he's acting like this. And it's not because he has the flesh that he has that he's acting like this, even though he's been a rapper since the age of 8. So I need to share the wings he gave me. So that's what Obama's doing it for, to prove he can be on that time zone.